All right, let's check out some comic books. Got more Whilce. Surprise, surprise. Haven't done one of these before, right? Big fan of Whilce. Lots of Whilce in this office. All right, WETWORKS Volume 2. If you haven't had a chance, go check out my other video. I did one on the complete run of at least the issues that he illustrated of Volume 1 WETWORKS. This is Volume 2, I believe 2006. So what I got here is the first 6 issues. I'm not 100% whether or not this is everything he did on it. He might have provided some covers after the fact. I don't recall where this went after this. This right here was probably actually the final WETWORKS product that I purchased. So if he was involved in anything, it was minimal. Otherwise, I'd have it here. So issues 1 through 6, Volume 2. This is the trade paperback. And this one here is actually useful because of the first 12 pages or so. It does collect the 2 preludes. Both of these were in standard floppies. I don't recall which one this was in. It might have been a Stormwatch book. I'm not completely sure. But this is art for inspiration. We're just checking out the artwork here. Anyway, sorry, I can't help you with that. The other one I think is a one-shot. I think it's called Eye of the Storm, I think. And I do have that. Don't know where it is. I have quite a few long boxes of uncategorized reference material. Beater copies all over the place in this room. So, yeah, this is pretty cool. So this was the cover. This is the actual cover. So if you see that there, and you can locate that cover, that's the book that contains these pages here. Really cool work. Really, really cool work. I think it was Richard Friend inks on these two, by the way. It was either Rich Friend or Trevor Scott. Watch me be wrong on both of those. I don't think it was Alan Guillen, though. Pretty sure it was Rich Friend. Rich Friend did inks as well on the regular series. They retrieved the body of, who was it, Mother One? Yeah. And then this right here, Chapter 1, goes into the regular book. We're going to look at the floppy editions. For whatever reason, these pages are printed really, really dark in the trade. So we're going to switch over to here. So yeah, this trade, Volume 1, there are multiple trades. This only has 1 through 5 plus the preludes in it. This is 1 through 6. So it has, yeah, just through there, and then the 6th book here by Whilce. So yeah, let's take a peek. I'm just going to do a little flip through here while I enjoy this, and hopefully see some cool stuff here as well. This dude's hair is crazy. It's one thing for myself. I never developed a character that has the crazy bangs, you know? The flock of seagulls thing going on. The line art in these books is actually really, really good. The coloring, coloring's okay for these, for a monthly, I guess. Nothing really spectacular. Even for the time when they were coming out, I would say that these books here were on par with, like, you know, like Jim Lee's Divine Right. The colors in there where they were just like kind of like house style, a lot of cut and grads. No break in the mold in that department. And they do tend to be a bit dark, so yeah, I don't think there was a whole lot of adjusting going on with that trade paperback, the printing of that. But the floppies, I would say, if you're interested in these, I would actually probably seek out a complete set, you know. in the floppy edition versus grabbing the trade paperbacks, which actually would be the cheaper route, I think. Is another an actual an eyesore to me is these books at this time. DC was just selling ads all over the place, or either that or Warner was utilizing the comics for ad space. But there's an advertisement on like every other page in these books. It's pretty annoying. Yeah, this is fantastic. I love this stuff. And a lot of things here, they get lost. You can't really tell because of the dark colors, but there's a lot of rendering going on in the faces here, in the metal. A lot of really cool, just spot black drop shadows and all these little trinkets and stuff on all these characters. And again, it's flattened out because because these dark colors. Whilce would have been better off, if I guess if he had known that this palette was going to be so dark, he probably just could have just dropped black in here, So these would be really interesting to see if there's ever like an artist edition or a gallery edition of Whilce's work in just line art only. I really hope that a lot of these pages from this specific series would be used in it. Because, yeah, the rendering is like top tier Whilce. So good. Heroes. Yeah, these pages are fun. Something I'm not really used to seeing too with these when these were coming out. A lot of stacked panels. Something I'm not really used to seeing Whilce do. A lot of stacked panels here. Tiny panels, tiny figures. But yeah, the inks in this thing is... The inks is carrying this issue a bit. Just a bit. Yeah, this is a great show too. And again, you can't see it because of colors, but the rendering through this entire figure is it's so rad. A lot of thicks to thins. Even the approach to the hair is just super cool. Yeah, you get to see a lot of interesting designs here too. These werewolves and these kind of animalistic characters that show up in this series. Alright, that's cool. Alright, so this is issue 1. Let's jump to 2. I think this is one with the bat. Yeah. Sick. Things like this, this is good effective use of really, really dark, 30-40% gray meeting that really hot spot, hard light colors, that yellow. That's really cool. This here makes me, when I see this kind of stuff here, I do wish that there was a remastered, some sort of an Omni of the original WETWORKS books. Because back then they weren't doing any color holds on the energy or the gun blasts and all that. I think it could have benefited from that. It's a really, really cool face. I really dig this a lot. This issue here, Rich Friend inks. This one, I didn't even look at that. Issue 1. Okay, so this was Trevor Scott inks, so that actually makes a lot of sense. Trevor Scott, to me, I would say was one of the Wildstorm noodlers. Kind of like how Danny Mickey was at my old studio at Extreme. They'd be the inker that you could go to with a page, and they would actually go in and really work in a lot of the not necessarily like solid lines you were drawn in, but they would actually flesh out things like folds in clothing or even cast shadow on faces and stuff. I think Rich Friend though, with his inks on this, I think he's more of a literalist. He's gonna not deviate too much from what you're doing, but probably add a little bit of character to the thick and thin fades, and keeping the fine lines fine, and trying to just be consistent and thorough. Rich Friend, most of his pages I've seen. Again, rhythmic, very rhythmic, and just super professional looking. Not a lot of wonkiness in them. Yeah, I would be interested to see some of the pencils of these books here. This book's falling apart right here. What's going on? Yeah, this is really interesting. I do like all these folds and the approach to them with the line art in here. All right, and then at some point in the series, they do introduce a few characters who are. This guy looks like something straight out of Spawn. Yeah, right there. It's a pretty cool shot of Zealot. This I always thought was kind of goofy. Feels like the Hulk, but just, I don't know. Maybe it's just the cranium. The skull's kind of ridiculous looking. But Whilce likes that. He likes those kind of silly. You know, he likes a lot of silly looking characters that are like they look like something out of the universe of like Beta Ray Bill, or what I was gonna say actually is Longshot, and you know, he inked the Longshot miniseries that catapulted Arthur Adams into stardom, and I feel like we kind of, when you're working over certain artists and things, you kind of like I don't know the right term, I guess memory hole a little bit of what you were working on. You bring it out later. There's a few characters in this series that they almost look like a Mojo, like a Mojo's almost like a Mojo Realm. I don't want to say a knockoff, but almost like an unused type character that you would see, you know, facing off against Longshot or whatever. That's pretty cool right here too. Yeah, these pages would look so awesome in black and white. I really wish. It might be a popularity thing. I don't know. Like, I really wish that Whilce had a better following, and you know, that might spark some interest. There are a few of his black and whites available in those artist edition books, but I think it's only in the what is it, like the Marvel covers, and actually the Jim Lee artist edition, the X-Men one, it has quite a bit of Whilce work in there. It just wasn't identified as his. But that's back in the day when that studio used to. They'd all work on each other's pages. So there were panels in there inked by Whilce and, you know, penciled by Whilce, this and that. This one's odd. Okay, so right here you can see this should have been black and it should have ran full bleed. But what I'm thinking is, on the original page you have your safe area, your blue line print area or whatnot. I don't think the colorist cropped this correctly. I think that this cutoff was actually supposed to run right here. And I think this is it's a file setup issue, not a artist issue. Yeah, but you can see right here where Rich ran all of this here, and then you can see the brush work here of spotting the black, and then he got kind of playful on this little teepee running off the shoulder right there. but it's also kind of ending right here too on the figure. So that's actually coloring, finishing it off the page there. Yeah, I think that this was just miscropped. They probably reduced it and they didn't check. They just didn't check the cutoff on it. So I don't think that's the artist. I don't think it was Rich Friend. I think it was just the whoever scanned it and prepped it for color wasn't paying attention. All right, so there's that one there. This one here is the final issue. So what was it? 234 inked by Rich, and then it skips to Whilce. I don't know if Alan Guillen does any inks in here, but I do know for a fact that it's pencil scans on those issues. There are pencil scans and level adjusted, contrast adjusted pencils. Maybe some digital ink hookups. I mean, it says like I think it said Avalon. I don't think it was digitally inked though. I think it's just level adjusted and then cleaned up. Yeah, it's so expressive. Um, yeah, this was a really nice point watching Whilce produce work because he was doing stuff at Top Cow and Wildstorm, and the Top Cow stuff feels a little more loose. This feels a little more controlled, but again, it might be Rich Friend's inks. Grabbing it by the collar and getting it back on track. But yeah, this stuff's cool. So cool. But yeah, it does suffer. But yeah, like this guy, he looks straight out of Mojo World here. I do really like the way Whilce hits these rim lights like this and this hatching in here and all that. That's actually Whilce and Arn Weisenfeld. That's where Steve Platt got that from. If there's any Platt fans watching this, if you want to figure out how he was doing a lot of the rim lighting and the under lights under the biceps and the pecs and that, really all you got to do is look at some pages with that feature rim lighting by Whilce or Weisenfeld. Anything previous to Team 7 issue 2 for Weisenfeld, though, he changed styles mid-series and went really dark. And then after that, actually simplified it. But yeah, I would say like maybe even like the Uncanny X-Men run by Whilce, specifically the panels containing Archangel. If you look at those, you can really see what Splat took from there. Damn, this is cool. This must have been a nightmare right here. A lot of this little splattery stuff and then not letting it make your like clean inks janky, Alright, so there's Rich Friend. That's the final page right there on that. Now we're skipping to this, issue 5, which is the final issue collected in that trade paperback. We get a digital painting on the cover here by Whilce. It's okay. I remember him posting this online way before this issue came out. I don't love it. I don't hate it. I think it's perfectly acceptable. Far enough into the series that it's not really going to make a difference as far as like bumping sales if that's what the attempt was. Yeah, this stuff's super cool. Definitely can tell this is pencil. Yeah, this isn't even digital inks. This is pencil scans, like you can see right here. I mean, that's literally just how Whilce pencils. They went in and tightened it up. He probably indicated where the black, where to spot black at. And it's also possible he went in with the paintbrush and actually just did his own black spotting and then let the fine line detail be handled by coloring studio. Man, every time I see a scary, I literally just think of, like, I can just see him standing behind like a Spiral or someone from X-Men. But yeah, his pages are great. Really, really cool, especially on the face. The cast shadows that he uses throughout this entire run of books, to be honest, I think it's something a lot of artists should employ in their work. I think it just gives it a little bit of atmosphere, I think, and because a lot of artists really like keeping their work open, and after a while I think it just starts kind of blending together. And you don't have to go super stark. Like this is insane. That's almost like Capullo level playfulness with the heavy black shadow. But yeah, these are the kind of things I try to employ in my own work, where it's like it's playful in a way that you can very obviously light source somewhere up here coming down this direction, casting the dark shadow on this side. But what you do to weaponize this is when you have a dark shadow like this, that's where you get to play with these lines. These lines don't necessarily look correct. If these shadows didn't exist, you kind of got to use them as a lead right here too on the muscles. It adds form. Really, it kind of weighs characters down too in a way. It grounds them a little bit. And again, I think it could benefit a lot of artists, that I follow, and am a fan of. Definitely, doing stuff like this right here. That's so cool. It's so cool. Very moody. Something I haven't been talking about here are the aesthetics of his panel layouts and the flow. I would say this is all top notch. This might be good if you're someone working on an action book or a team book and you have a lot of panels that you need to knock out per page for whatever reason. If the writer hates you, he's like, here's a 14 panel page. This is actually really good stuff, I think, that you could look at as far as different shots, and then also composition and sizes of these panels are really effective. I don't feel very lost in here. This is very easy. This one here is kind of out of place, but you remove that from the mix. This is a very easy to read page. There's nothing that's really stopping me besides this crap. You get these ads, and then it's just like, kind of, it is. I mean, this right here feels like the end of the book. You got a double page ad. Story, 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 double page. You're like, oh, that must be it. Like, I literally feel like there would be a to be continued right here. Doesn't exist. Like, look, there's more pages. Yeah, I don't know. If I was the one putting these books together, those ads would be in the back. I don't know what kind of deal they got with that, but all right. So this one here, and at this point, this is almost a decade old. So let's see, Whilce penciler, again, digital inkers. Let's see, we got Wendy Broom, Randy Mayer color. So Wendy Broom, almost certain that's Matt Broom, the artist. I'm pretty sure that's his wife. Was, I'm not sure. But I do know that Matt Broom did go into coloring, actually quit penciling comics and went into coloring, and I'm pretty sure that they were like a duo, knocking out stuff. After what series was that? I forget. There was some series he did at Wildstorm that was had some pretty cool Michael Golden covers. That's all I remember. Yeah, this is kind of wild. Um, this stuff this stuff works really well because the dark palette does hide a bit of the jankiness of some of the pencils. These are definitely pencil scans. Um, so if there was a better grip on the actual palette used in the colors and they weren't so dark in this run of books, I would say that this book would have actually suffered because the inks would have carried a bit more weight. But this is still super fun to look at. Another thing, I'm going to point this out. Whilce, every artist has their I don't want to say weakness, but their weird, strange quirks. His thing for a while tended to be the people, they call it the giraffe neck, where he'll do a panel where the character's sort of hyperextending their head, looking a specific direction, and he would actually kind of do the ET thing. The neck would extend, right? Some mecha-neck thing going on. And to us artists, sometimes you don't really catch that. I'm not seeing any of that in here. As far as like anatomical, I don't want to say correctness, because none of us really. I don't draw comics because I want to draw stuff correctly. I draw them because I like interesting work and stylized work. But I'm not seeing that giraffe neck syndrome thing that he had going for a bit. So, side note, man, this has got to be the loosest page. They didn't even try. Yeah, these pencils here, like this, for the page looks like it's like rushed, and then they just sort of they hit it with the spot black, and they were like, done. Let's end this. End the show. Look at that. Man, that's wild. And you can see lighter colors, 20-30%. If you were to flip this to grayscale, this would be like 10, 20, 30. That's why you can see these so good. Most of these other areas here, this would translate to like a 40-50. This would be like a 50-60. That's why these lines look acceptable, because they're so dark. The color underneath registers so dark to your eye. And that's where you can get away with pencil scans that are loose very easily because of that. As soon as you start hitting these areas where it's only 5-10% on a grayscale, you can really see where it lacks, where the some good inks could have really actually helped it out. So yeah, I wonder why. I wonder why this was just pencil scan. The final 2 books might have been a sales issue. Could be budget. That's happened before. I've had to pencil stuff before. I did an issue of I think I did a chapel book that was pencil scanned, I'm pretty sure. That was timeliness, though. They just didn't have time to get the inker to do. I think Sabal or Mickey had inked 1 or 2 pages, and then they just started shooting pencils on it, from what I remember. Yeah, to be continued. I have no idea where this thing's continued. But anyways, there we go. Badass cover, by the way. So good. Richard Friend inked this cover. Really interesting. I like the colors too. Kind of got that Crayola mash going on, but I like it. So there's issue 6, 5. There's issue 4, 3, 2. I'm not sure if this might actually be a Whilce cover too, by the way. This might be like full on line art scanned and then digitally painted under actual line art, not just a digital painting. Issue 1, and then if you're interested, they do have volume 1 and 2. I know they have 2 for sure because I've seen it. Volume 1 and 2 of the Mike Carey scripted WETWORKS series. Let me check the year here for you, because I know I never checked that. It says 2003. I was wrong. I said 6. So 2003, WETWORKS Volume 2. Yeah. Where's my mouse at? There we are. Thanks for hanging out.